Hey man, I have a really important financial question to ask you.
So what exactly makes a business? Is it the perfect idea? Is it a fancy office? Is it stress? Is it an Italian dude named Tony yelling at you, to hurry and open the tomatoes? Put that can opener away, because the answer on what makes a business is actually simpler than you may think. Well, how do you become a business? Easy. You sell something, get paid for it, then pay your taxes on the income. Congrats, you're a business. Now there are other things you have to look out for, like local taxes, local licenses, state licenses, etc. Most of that stuff can be found online, or your local town hall. If you sell something, either a product or a service, and then pay taxes on what you make, you are what's called a sole proprietorship. In other words, you are the business, and you make the money, and you have all the risk and all the taxes. Being a sole proprietor owner is like being a captain of a small sailboat, navigating the vast sea of entrepreneurship. As a captain, you wear many hats, enjoy the fruits of your labor alone, and are solely responsible for your ship. And if your ship goes down, you'll be going with it, me lad. Another type that is very similar is a partnership. The difference being there's more than one captain to wallow in the belly of the sea with.
Now there's several other business types, in case being a sole proprietor doesn't sound like the right fit for you. The first one is the LLC. This is a business type that has gained a lot of popularity in the last few years, due to its flexibility. The humble LLC was thought about a good number of years ago, but it wasn't until 1977 that it achieved its final form, or the most recent form that we know and love. Who knows, maybe it can evolve again. Wyoming, of all places, is where it was invented. It was thought of because there were strict rules and other complications to having a formal corporation. There was a need for a corporation for smaller businesses, but with less restrictions and rules. Thus, the LLC was born. One of the best things about an LLC is its flexibility. It allows you to choose to pay your taxes like either type of corporation. You see, one of the biggest benefits is what the name implies, and that's there's limited liability that you can experience, which means that if somebody gets mad at you because your product doesn't do what they want and decides to sue you, your LLC will add a layer of protection, kind of like the Iron Dome for a sue-seeker missile. An LLC is like being captain of a ship, except it's in a weird alternate reality where boats have sentience. Like the boat is responsible for itself, and if something happens to the boat, you aren't responsible, but you're still responsible because you're on a sinking boat. Now let's talk about the two other types of business entities. The first, S Corporation. This is very similar to the LLC, but it's not as flexible. The S Corp was established from a tax code in 1958. That combines the taxation of a partnership with the protection of a C Corporation. What this means is that you are responsible for the taxes of the business. It goes on your personal tax return, but you still have the liability protection of a C Corp. Think of it like crossing a body of water on a sailboat. It's a separate vehicle that can get you to the other side and somewhere great, and you're protected from shark attacks, but not if they bring a rocket launcher. You have more responsibility to pay the taxes to get across, because if you can't sail, aka afford the taxes, then you won't get anywhere. Now the final form of a business is the C Corporation. This is what everyone thinks about when they hear that a business is incorporated. A C Corporation has been around for several hundred years. That's because it's a completely separate entity taxed separately from you. And because of this, it can be very customizable, but also very complicated. For example, if you want to sell your shares to the public, then you have to be a C Corp. Now the downside is the complicated nature. Only companies that are a certain size or certain complexity should consider this entity due to the regulations, requirements, and so on. But there are many benefits to this type. Think of this entity like crossing a body of water on a motorized boat. This could potentially get you across the ocean to somewhere great, like Hawaii. It'll protect you from a herd of sharks with machine guns, but can be very difficult to operate. Usually you need a whole team to run the battleship, and that is the essence of a C Corp. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, well damn Big Eth, that's some good info, but it still really doesn't answer my question of what entity should I choose?
Well, first off, the best way to answer that question is to refer to your tax professional. They should give you an idea of what you should consider and why. However, your boy, the finance geek, has got you covered. Now, there are a few tricks that can guide you in the right direction. So to start, like if you do something with not a lot of risk, like dog walking. I mean, you do know that dogs bite, right? Mowing the grass? You know, you could run over somebody's cat with a lawnmower. Not that I've done that or anything. Okay, how about fish sitting? Yeah, that should work. The point is, you don't really need any business entity, so you can actually just stay as a sole proprietor. Now, the two criteria you should use to establish a more formal business entity is if you have a business that's more risky than others. For example, teaching people how to wrestle bears. Then you may want the protection that a corporation has to offer. The second reason is size. At some point, when you make a good amount of money, incorporating makes sense to simplify taxes and add protection. Now, which business entity should you choose once you hit those 2 points? The LLC is always a good starting point. That's because you can choose to be taxed as an S or a C Corp and get the protection. So it's relatively easy and it gives you all the flexibility that you need. The other two should be considered when you get to a certain size. They're meant to be used when you have several partners, employees, you want to sell stock, or raise money. You probably should consult your accountant on that one.
Some nuggets of truth in here that Daring Do is going to have to admit to, and this is coming from Dr. Caballeron, and we know that his motivation has been primarily about we feel like real.
It's not what it looks like. I only watch it for the themes. I don't even like ponies.
We'll see you next time.